Hello and welcome to the Composer Amareonth channel. Today I'm going to show you how to varnish this innocent white violin top plate as if it were a relic freshly unearthed from a musician's grave. First, we start by cleaning the surface of the spruce top using 400 grit sandpaper. At this stage, you could also adjust the thickness and curvature to improve the tone, but since I don't really know how to do that, I just sand it. Next, we prepare an egg. This is for making albumin, which we'll use to seal the wood before applying any stain. Crack the egg and separate out the white into a plastic cup. Then whisk it, not gently like people usually say, but vigorously because I like to. After that, strain it through a coffee filter and gently squeeze it by hand. What comes out is your albumin. Now, using a clean brush, apply the albumin to the spruce top. It'll feel sticky and hard to spread evenly. That's fine, just rub out the clumpy bits with the brush. Bubbles may form, but don't worry about those either. Once applied, let it dry completely for half a day. While that dries, we'll prepare the dye. To create this relic violin, you must use black. Simply using dark or medium brown gives you that all too common reddish tone. So I mix my base dye in the following ratio: dark brown 2, medium brown 3, jet black 1. I then dilute this 1:1 with 80% alcohol. Before applying it, always test your dye with a swab on scrap wood. Does it give you that slightly brownish black? Perfect. The albumin has dried. I didn't show this in the video, but I gently sanded the top again with 400 grit paper to smooth it out. There's now a faint smell of eggs coming from the wood. Excellent. Now take your brush and apply the dye you made earlier. Some may prefer to apply a base coat with diluted medium brown first. That's also fine. But I'm going straight in with the black-brown dye onto the white wood. Then I rub the surface with 80% alcohol to even out the color and help it penetrate deeper. It already looks ruined, doesn't it? Yes, it's ruined. There's only one way to save this now: sanding. To make a proper zombie violin, you'll need 150 grit and 220 grit sandpaper to rough up the surface. As I sand, I imagine the violin's past. Famous players leaving their hand marks, and finally, one violinist who loved it so much they took it to the grave. I picture the decades underground, the cold, the humidity, the blooming and withering of mold. Then carefully scrape away some of the black stain to reveal its history. About 3 hours of sanding just recreated 100 years of aging. To finish it off, I used the marvel of modern technology, a vacuum cleaner. Dust removal really brings out the contrast of color. The color feels a bit lacking in red, so I lightly coat it with a diluted medium brown dye. This gives it that touch of blood. Perfect for a zombie violin. I also sand the edges brightly for a modern flair. I compare it to a past failed attempt. This one's turning out much better. Now it actually looks good. Yes, earlier when I said I ruined it, I was lying. Now comes the most important moment: applying shellac. Since I scrubbed the surface hard with 80% alcohol multiple times before this, I believe the dye had fully set into the wood. Until now. I underestimated the power of 99% alcohol used to dissolve the shellac. I apply shellac using a pure cotton pad. The pigments begin to smear and bleed. This time, it's really ruined. Look at my panicked hands. Here's how it looked after the first coat dried. Disaster. The design I had in mind is all distorted. There's only one fix: sanding again. I used sandpaper to lighten the areas that got too dark. It took another 3 hours. This time, I don't make the mistake of rubbing with a pad. I use my beloved, filthy light brush to gently and swiftly apply the shellac. Never go over the same spot twice. One thin coat at a time, then dry it with a fan for 5 minutes. I can usually apply 3 coats this way. Afterward, you must let it dry for at least 5 hours. Otherwise, the previous layers will peel off during the next coat. I edited this part a little longer because the brushwork was nice to watch. Edges are carefully coated too. Everything is now sealed. Let it dry for a day. While the shellac dried, I ran a little experiment. Instead of traditional French polishing or brushing, I sprayed shellac onto a test spruce plate. The goal was to see how much a pre-colored green square would bleed from alcohol and shellac. The result? Fantastic. The green square barely smudged. So for my next project, I'll try using spray for the first shellac coat to fix the dye. Everything is done now. I lay this top plate over my practice violin and shoot an elegant scene, pretending it's a fully completed instrument. The zombie, no, old violin looks so beautiful. That's it for today's video. I'll be back with more fun staining adventures next time. This was Amareonth.